A special guest. After dinner, we met a special guest, Bachandri Pal. She had just been selected as a part of the team to climb Mount Everest. So, after the dinner, they had met a special guest that was Bachandri Pal, and she was there to climb Mount Everest. She had come to seek the blessings of Brigadier Gyan Singh. It was a happy evening. We were all singing. So this lady was come to take blessings of our director, their director, and that evening was very happy, and they all were singing. Bachendri also joined us in singing and dancing on the famous Pahadi song Bedu Pako Baramasa Kafal Paka Chaitra Meli Chialam. So Bachendri was also joining them. Bachendri has also joined them in singing, and they were singing that famous Pahadi song which is written. At that time, we had no idea that Bachendri would become the first Indian woman to reach Mount Everest and create history. So at that time, they had no idea that the Bachendri would become the first Indian woman. She was the first Indian woman to climb Mount Everest. So at that time, they do not have any idea. Camp in the Snow, that is on 18th February 1984. We were standing at a height of 2134 meters. We were to spend the night here. So they were standing at the height of 2134 meters, and they have to spend the night at that height. Everyone was busy trying to put up the tent. We used double layered plastic sheets for the tent and for the ground. So everyone was busy to tie tent, and everyone was using double layered plastic sheets on the ground to tie tent on the ground and on the layer. The air between the layers would help to keep us warm. We put in the pegs and began to put up the tent. So that double layer will help them to remain warm. As we tied it from one side, the wind flew the tent from the other side. After quite a lot of pulling and tugging, we managed to get the tent up. Then we dug a drain around the tent. So it is telling that they had done a lot of hard work to put this tent, because of the air, they were not able to put this tent. We were feeling very hungry. We collected some firewood and stones to make a chula and cooked some food. So they all were feeling very hungry, and so they gathered some firewoods and they started to make chula. After the meal, we collected all the waste in a bag to clean the campsite. So they cleaned all the campsite after the meal. After the meals, after they have done some eat some food. Soon we got into our sleeping bags. I was not sure if I would be able to sleep in it. So soon they went into their tent to sleep in the sleeping bags, and she was not sure that she would able to sleep. Would it be comfortable? Would I not feel cold? But the bags were filled with soft feathers which help in keeping us warm. We were all very tired, so very soon we fell asleep. So that when you are camping, you feel tired, and so they were fall asleep, and due to the tent, it also helped them to keep warm, to remain warm. Now see, the next morning we woke up and found that it was snowing. White, soft, fluffy snowflakes were gently falling. So the next morning when they wake up, there was a snowfall, and white, soft, fluffy, like how the snow is. So it was gently falling. Wow, it was so beautiful. The plants, the trees, the grass, and the mountains, everything looked white. Today we were to climb higher to 2700 meters. So the plants, the trees, all the things were much beautiful, and today they were going to climb higher, that was 2700 meters. We walked carefully on the snow with the help of the sticks. So they walked very carefully due to the snow. They were walking with the help of sticks. It was difficult because we kept sleeping By afternoon, we had reached snow-covered mountains. We enjoyed throwing snowballs at each other and making a big snowman. Due to the snowfall, it was very slippery, and by afternoon, they had reached snow-covered mountains, and they enjoyed throwing snowballs at each other. They were playing with the snow, and they enjoyed with the snowballs and with big snowmen. Now see, last day of the camp. We were getting ready for the campfire. So it was the last day of the camp, and they were getting ready for the campfire. Each group presented a program. We were enjoying telling jokes and laughing, singing and dancing around the campfire. So they were enjoying very much. They were telling jokes, laughing, singing and dancing around the campfire. Soon it was midnight. Brigadier Gyan Singh got up and called me. I thought, oh no, what have I done this time? So soon it was midnight, middle of the night, and Brigadier Gyan Singh, that was the director of the camp, called this lady, and she was thinking that what I have done this time. But when sir announced my name for the best performance award, I stood still. He blessed me and tears of joy rolled down my face. So this lady was announced as best performance award, and she was very happy, and so her tears of joy rolled down her face. Discuss, why do you think a drain was dug around the tent? So there was a drain dug around the tent. So you have to tell that why it was dug. Besides mountaineering, what are other activities that can be called adventurous? Why? So mountaineering is adventurous, but what are the other activities that we can call as adventurous? So now imagine and write, you are on a mountain. How do you feel there? What can you see? What do you feel like doing there? So if you are on the mountain, how do you feel? You have to imagine this, and you have to tell. Alone on the top, a 12-year-old girl living in the mountains was out on a school picnic. She climbed a mountain peak of 4,000 meters with her friends. The girls had done this for fun and adventure. Soon it was dark and they could not come down. It was also cold and scary. They were alone without any food, and it was a long night. This happened to Vichendri Pal, played when she was a young girl. So it is telling that there was a 12-year-old girl living in the mountains, and they went to the school picnic, and they were at the mountain peak of 4,000 meters, and they had been lost, and it was dark, and so it was so cold, and they were feeling scary, and these all things, they were alone without, they do not have any food, and these things was happened to Bichendri Pal, that lady, the girl which was very young. Bichendri grew up in Nakuri village in the Garhwal area of Uttarakhand. So Bichendri grew up in the Nakuri village, that is of Uttarakhand. When she grew older, she joined Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, Uttarkashi. So when she was getting big, she was older, she joined this Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, that was on Uttarkashi. Her guide was Brigadier Gyan Singh. Bachendri did very well in her training. So her guide was the director, that was Brigadier Gyan Singh, and Bachendri was got very well training. She started to train women in mountaineering course. In 1984, Bachendri was selected as a team member to climb the Mount Everest. So in 1984, Bachendri was selected to climb the Mount Everest. Now see snowstorm. There were 7 women in that 18 members. On the night of 15th May, the team was very tired after reaching a height of 7,300 kilometers. The team put up their tents and went to sleep. So it was telling that there were 7 women in that 18-member team. That there was 18-member team, and in that 7 were women. And on the night of 15th May, the team was very tired after reaching the height of 7,300 meters, and so the team went in their tent and gone to sleep. Around midnight, they heard a loud sound and then a bang. Before they were fully awake up, the tent flew off and something very heavy hit them. There was a terrible snowstorm. So there was a terrible snowstorm. It was a snowstorm, and so their tents flew away. Bachendri was almost buried around under the snow and was hurt on the head. So Bachendri was a girl and she was hurt with the snow and she was buried under the snow. Many of the team members were also injured, so many of them were injured. The others used snow picks and axes to dig out those who had been buried under the snow. So they were using axes. They were using axes to dig out the snow and who were buried under the snow. The rest of the team members returned to base camp, but Vachandri went ahead. So the rest of the team members were returned, but the Bachendri was going ahead. She went ahead, climbing slowly but steadily towards the peak. It was 7 minutes past 1 o'clock in the afternoon of 23rd May when Bachendri Pal stepped onto the peak of 8,900 meter high Mount Everest, also called Sagarmatha in Nepal. So it was the afternoon of 23rd May, and at that time she reached Mount Everest, that was also called as Sagarmatha in Nepal. So there was another team member with her. There was no space for two people to stand on the top at the same time. One slip and they would fall straight down thousands of feet below. Bachendri and her teammate dug it into the snow and pitched their eggs firmly in the ice. So two person cannot stand on the top of the Mount Everest. So they went, so one by one they went, and the first woman was Bachendri, and her teammate dug into the snow and pitched their eggs firmly in the ice using thieves as a hoop. They tied themselves to it with a rope. So they were digging the ice and they tied themselves with a hook with the rope. Only then two of them could stand there. She was shivering with cold but filled with the warmth of achievement. So we know that two person cannot stand. So they tied each other with rope and then the two person was standing. She bowed her head, pitched the national flag, and took photographs. She spent 43 minutes on the highest peak in the world. Bachendri Pal became the first Indian woman and the fifth woman in the world to reach the peak of Mount Everest. So Bachendri was the first Indian woman and the fifth woman in the world to reach the height of the Mount Everest. So here our chapter is completed.